In this video, I'm going to talk about activating your nobleman. And a noble person is somebody who sees something in you and wants to help you learn or wants to help you succeed. And sometimes you don't understand why. They do tend to be in a more powerful position than you are. But if they're recently retired, then they don't really have position, but they may have all the knowledge you need. And they still have influence. So in some ways, they're still in a more powerful position than you are. Now, you need to be quite clear about what you need in terms of a noble person. So if you are trying to succeed, let's say in your career, and you seem to be having trouble, you have to think about what new skill do I need? What, do I need to learn to interact with people better? Do I need to learn this new piece of software? You have to be pretty clear about what you need. And sometimes it's not terribly clear. And if that's the case, the easiest thing you can do is actually ask your boss, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to learn so that I can get a promotion? I mean, it's hard to do, but this is something that if you really don't know what's going on, this is something you can do. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to help you, but at least now you know at least a decent direction of what you need to do to be able to move forward. If you don't know what you need, you're not going to be able to recognize your noble person. And this is why this part is important. You need to know what you need. And of course, if it's just a skill, oftentimes you can get this from YouTube. But if it's like a skill with a new piece of software or something. But if it's dealing with people, you may need more help, more of a one-on-one kind of help with an individual. To be able to know how to do this, you need to know your residence flying star chart and your nobleman animal signs, which I'll talk about, and you also need the monthly star chart. I do have a video that talks about the annual and monthly star chart patterns, and it's up and you can watch that. It's not hard to understand, but a lot of times this is a bit of a mystery for people. Your day master, that is the heavenly stem of your day pillar, that will tell you where your nobleman animal signs are. They usually call them noblemen, but I like to say noble person because this can be a female. So this is an example of a batza, and most of the time they're arranged this way. If you can often find them in English, but you might only find them easily in Chinese, and if you do, you'll have to be able to figure it out. What you need, and it's almost always this column, the third one, because this is traditionally the way you set them out. This is your day master. It is the heavenly stem of the day pillar, and the pillar is the column. So you just need to find that element listed down in this table. Here it is. And so that means this person's their two noble people are people who have monkey or rat. And this is usually in their year animal sign. But nobleman can also refer to a subsector of your house. And like I said, typically the animal sign of the person that you are working with or hoping to have as a noble person. If you happen to have, if you know or find out their date of birth well enough, you might actually find that their year animal sign is one of yours, and maybe their month or their day is the other animal sign that is your noble person animal sign. Then this is a pretty good sign that this is the one. Now, I have found noble people in my life. My PhD advisor and my mentor in interior design both happen to be rats, and my day master is yin wood. And that was actually what I showed you was my Batsa. Now, at the time when all this happened, I did not know monkeys and rats were my noble people. And it's a little bit, I mean, it was a little surprising that both of my mentors were rats. So one I sought out, the other one sought out me. So, it works both ways. Now, the star one is associated with noble people. So if you can activate the sector of your house that has the facing star one in your flying star chart, this is the best way to help you find a noble person to help you. So you look at your flying star chart and see where your facing star one is located. If there is a water feature visible, such as a lake, a pond, or a swimming pool, that's already there. In that sector, basically when you look directly out, you can see it. Then this sector is actually automatically activated. Now, if it's a very small amount of water, it's not highly activated, but this is only a sector, so it doesn't need a lot of water to activate. So the way you use this is that you actually just be in that sector and actively seek a mentor. Contact people, ask them things, offer them help, basically, if you have anything to offer them. And while you're doing this, it's best to face your longevity, which is also love and relationships. And relationships has to do outside of your personal life, or your success direction. That gives you a little extra boost. And the video, your best directions on my channel will tell you what that is, and most people know this. But you really do need to have something to offer your prospective noble person. If you know they're looking for a skill and you have it, you're in really good shape. You can offer them your time to do whatever they need you to do. That's a possibility. You can offer them money. When you go to college, you are offering money for noble people. That's basically, if you're lucky, that's what happens. When you go to college, yes, you pay the tuition to the university or the community college or whatever, but part of the job of the professors and instructors that teach you is if they find somebody with skills that are needed, they encourage that person and try to put them in contact with, people that can give them a job and this kind of thing. I mean, this is something that is part of the job of somebody in college that is an instructor. Now, if you do not have any water visible outside, you can put some internal water. And because we're only talking about a sector, most houses with somewhere between a 30 and 50 gallon aquarium is enough to activate that sector. And if you have a very small apartment, like a studio apartment, then a small fishbowl with living fish is enough. Kind of judge overall size. If your house is really big, you're going to need more. If it's on the small side, you need less. Now, if you happen to be missing the ability to use your facing star one sector, and by this I mean maybe it's not in your house, that is, it's a true missing sector. Maybe it's somebody else's bedroom, maybe it's the bathroom, and it's not convenient for you to be in that sector right outside the bathroom because it's like weird. I can see that. Maybe it's the kitchen or the laundry room. I could see that there are places where you're not going to be able to do this. If that's the case, then you want to use your noble person's animal locations in your house in sync with the month stars in those those two locations. And I'll show you what I mean by this. Again, this is where you can find the pattern. I'm going to give you 3 years worth of information, but if you're watching this later and I haven't redone the video, then you can follow the pattern here. What you need to do is determine which center star corresponds to which animal sign with the star 1. That's what it boils down to. So I've basically done this for you so that you don't have to pull your hair out. So you want to find your daymaster. And in my case, it was here, yin wood. So I am looking for months that have 4 in the center or 5 in the center. And this one will actually come earlier than this one. And I would want to be in the subsector listed. And this would give me a boost. Now, this year is 2023, and this year, this subsector here has one of the 3 killings. So this is not someplace I would choose to work in general unless I could do it very quietly. And that would basically mean just emailing people and not talking on the phone. But this one I could use because this is a very good sector in 2023. So you have to use a little bit of judgment here. But let me show you just a little bit more. Let's use the yin and yang fires. Now they happen to have the same element. Some do, some don't. And that is the same months. And what this means is when you have a month with 9 in the center, then you place yourself in the northwest sector of your residence, and that's where you look for the noble person. The next month, because these are 2 consecutive months, you will be in the west 2 with the rooster. Now this year, 2023, the rooster is has the year breaker. So if you are a rooster, you'll want to use this one instead. And that's just the way it is. And sometimes you have to be a little picky. Here, if you don't have any external water in that particular sector, in this case in the pig or the rooster sector, then you can put in a little bit of water. And since we're talking about a subsector, an average size fish bowl with living fish is actually big enough. Because, I mean, unless you live in a really, really large house. So here is 2023, 2024, and 2025's annual star and monthly star. So we were looking at the yin and yang fire, and they had the 9 and the 8. And so these are the 2 months which are coming up later this year. You missed one here, but you've got 2 more here that you can use to help you find a mentor. It is a ways away, but it's not terribly far away. Next year, you would have these months. And then the year after one, you would have these months. So you just look at it that way. Now, this is a very clear pattern. Every year it goes down by 1 for the annual, and every month it goes down by 1. We have 6 here, we start with 5, goes down to 3, start with 2, goes down to 9, and then we're back to here. So the month stars have a 3-year cycle, and the annual stars have a 9-year cycle. So this is, it's a really constant kind of thing. This will just repeat. Every 9 years, it'll always be the same. So in 2026, we'll be back to this. However, this one will be 1 instead of 4. I think that's pretty clear. So you only want to use one of these 2 methods. Don't use them both. If you have a usable facing star 1 sector in your house, and it already has external water, or you can add some internal water, this is the best sector you want to be in. It's a lot stronger, and you can use it at any point in time. So this one is better. If but if this isn't something you can do, so if you don't have the ability to do this, you want to use the monthly timing along with that specific sector which I just talked about. You do not want to use both. If you use both, you actually may end up with so many choices that you just don't pick the right one because you maybe you like a certain person better. Your noble person doesn't have to be someone you like. If you are someone who needs motivation, this noble person can be a person that you actually don't find very fun to be with. He or she may kick your butt to get you to do things, may be quite demanding, but that might be what you need. And if you only use one, that's the one you're going to find. If you do both, you may find two and you pick the one that's nicer and you just don't get as much return because that's not your real noble person, not the one that would do you the most good. Let's put it that way. Now, if you use both, it could also result in maybe some unhealthy level of interest in your noble person in you beyond helping you, that is in a more personal way. And remember, this person is likely to be in a higher position than you are. So if they are attracted to you in a sexual way and you don't want to do that, you're going to be in a really difficult situation because you don't want to, I mean, that's sexual harassment basically. But since this person isn't paying you, he is not your employer, you don't have any, it's not quote unquote illegal, at least not here in the United States, for him to feel or her to feel that way about you. So you have to be careful. This is why you really want to only use one, because then you're more likely to get the noble person that's best for you. And again, if you can use your sector with the facing star one, that's better than this because this has limited time. This is much more general. Now, there are some practitioners who also advocate pinpointing your noble people. But you have to have a specific purpose in mind. And with that, you will use something other than your day master to pinpoint or to focus on a noble person. So if you're seeking help with, let's say, your grandparents or your work colleagues, and not the ones that you work with on a daily basis, but ones that you work with more occasionally that you don't really know all that well, and maybe you didn't get off on the right foot kind of thing, this can help. Now, when I'm thinking of grandparents, because your year animal sign and your year pillar have to do with that level. This could be if your grandparents are getting older and they really shouldn't be living alone, but they're reluctant to move in with either you or your parents. Then you can find someone that can help convince them, because you care about your grandparents. Now, I happen to have rather old parents. I barely remember my grandmothers and did not get a chance to know my grandfathers because they were already dead before I was born. So this is not something I've had experience with, but my parents, yes. But they were not, luckily they were not fighting it, but some grandparents do. And the work colleagues are people who, again, that are more distant from you, but can have an effect on your life. And if you have someone who's in HR, you want to be, able to interact with them comfortably. And then you would be looking for a noble person whose heavenly stem is associated with your year pillar. That is, you have a heavenly stem year pillar. You look and see which animal signs those are, and if there's several people in HR that are that, and if you know at least the year that they were born, you can determine which animal signs there are. If one of them is associated, is a better one for you, try to work with that person. That's the way you would work this. Now, if you're seeking help with your career, and this would include running your own business, you would be looking for people based on your month pillar, the heavenly stem of your month pillar. And if you were looking for help with close relationships, that would be like your spouse, or even if you're not actually married but living together, that would also be included. Or anybody else who's very, it could be a sister if you're very close, a sibling if you're very close to them. But that would be your day master, which is the general one that we use anyway. But if you're seeking help with your children, or maybe your ideas, you've got this idea for a great product, but you're having trouble figuring out how to get it started, well, then at least one practitioner says then you want to look at your hour pillar and look at the heavenly stem of your hour pillar. Now, these guys here are not standard. This is not usually what they say. Most practitioners just say use your day pillar, use your day master. And but if you wanted to test these out, by all means you can try. You can still go back to your day master anyway. But if you have success, I'd like to hear about it, because this is to me a bit on the questionable side. I mean, I understand where it comes from, but I haven't heard much success with this. However, I do think this at least one person is onto something. You can use your luck pillar, the heavenly stem of your luck pillar. That may or may not be your day master. At a certain time it will be, but there are 10 different heavenly stems, so that could happen at any point. But you want to use that during the decade that you're actually, this is your current luck pillar. Now, timing has its own power beyond general things. So this is why I think a luck pillar could work to find a noble person, because you are using timing. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please feel free to contact me here if you have any questions, or visit my ad-free website. And if you subscribe, I will have some regular videos and monthly videos for certain, and some other new videos on a regular basis. Thank you again for watching.